Steve Pappaterra. The tape you are about to see includes footage from several speaking engagements I've given over the past few years. Each of my presentations concerns how to enhance an aspect of performance. Just like playing drums with a big band is a performance, so is interacting with colleagues at work, speaking to an audience, teaching, selling, or simply communicating with others. Each program is designed and delivered to engage the audience, to achieve specific, tangible results, and regardless of the subject, be anything but dull.
As an advisor, it's very much the same thing. The practice that we would use would be the education we've received, formal, informal, personal study. It's the experiences we've had with clients, seeing what works, what hasn't worked, what we can do better. It's discussions with our own colleagues, looking at what they do. Oftentimes we're in meetings with clients and we see what one of our colleagues does and say, yeah, that's right on target. All of that is the fundamentals. And so that when we're with a client, we're not thinking about all those things that we heard at a conference the week before about how to save estate taxes or manage your money better. What we're thinking about is how do we listen for what the client really wants and how do we help them get that. The client is going to take us in directions that we, despite the fact that we may prepare meticulously, we can't anticipate where it's going to go. And so you need to be creative, not just in responding to an objection that they have, but I think very much in crafting a story that will resonate with them. And so by taking analogies, making up different stories, making up client scenarios that will hit them and say, geez, you know, that sounds like something that would apply to me. That's where the creativity comes in. In the hands of the trustee, and in this case, the surviving spouse has to ask for that. If you have a 5 or 5 power, then you're putting it in the hands of the spouse to take that money. That's less palatable in many cases than telling the spouse, this is what you can get. You don't have to make any special withdrawals. You don't have to make any special distribution. You don't have to ask for the money. The control really there is in the hands of the person who sets up the trust. They can decide, I want this percentage or I want that percentage. So, and it's not to say that that's a bad thing. I mean, we see, and you'll see in the documents, you see 5 and 5 powers. You see all sorts of different provisions. What we're suggesting is that rather than setting up the basic paradigm of all income principal if needed, maybe you set up this unitrust interest, this total return trust, and then on top of that, you provide these other bells and whistles, which provide additional flexibility. The goal in all of this is to make this trust as flexible as possible. And it seems to me that the total return trust provides more flexibility, not only from the standpoint of the beneficiary's access to the money, but also from the standpoint of the person who's setting it up. You really have a great deal of flexibility when you do this approach. If you invest for income, then you have a problem for the remainder beneficiaries. So no matter how you look at it, you're really going to disappoint both parties equally. The solution, and it's not always the right solution, but it is something I really think that you should think about, is this concept of a total return trust. Instead of paying all income principal if needed, you can take the full value of the trust, you value the trust each year, and you pay out a unitrust or percentage interest. Let's say it's 4%. Each year you look at the trust, you invest for growth, take a percentage each year, and that gets paid out to your quote-unquote income beneficiary.
Andrew is our husband. Who would like to marry Andrew? Yeah, this isn't very good. Nobody wants to marry Andrew? He's got a lot of money. Oh, there's someone. Come on, Andrew. going to have to do anything? Or?
Is it me or her? Me?
No, it's you. What's your name?
Kristen.
Kristen. Look, she's looking for a thing. I'm on camera for the show. Okay, you look just fine. Trust me. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, you said you're married? Yes. What did you usually, like, what do you do when you wooed your wife? Okay, I know what it is. I can see it. I can see it. This guy. All right. All right. So, what's that? He's got the ring up. Like, you got 60 people here, Andrew. They can see what you're doing. Okay.
Not for a fee.
No. Okay. I can tell. Come on over here. Okay? No, you can stay right there. No, you sit down. He's supposed to. All right, so what you do is you kneel, and you have to grab her hand. I can tell he's this kind of guy. He's a real man. All right. Are you saying, if I profane with my unworthiest hand, the gentle sin is this. My lips two blushing pilgrims. You don't sound like you're committed to this at all! My lips two blushing pilgrims. Ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a gentle kiss. And you know what? That's fine. All right, you can still the same pattern too, because when I respond back to her the way I just did, she comes back to me in the same kind of pattern. It's like you push this button and you push that button, and that's what happens. You push, if you push certain numbers on this cell phone, certain things are going to happen every time, right? You push this button, and you push that button, and you push that button, and you get a certain response. This is the way it is. So, what you want, it's almost like a jazz musician. You start with a certain premise. There's a chord structure, there's a certain rhythmic structure, right? Now, what do? You throw the pattern away, or do you build upon it? And then you're back into it again. This summer's ripening breath may one day prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Though thinkest we shall ever meet again, I doubt it not, and all these woes shall serve for sweet discourse in our times to come.
Pappaterra is National Director of Estate Planning for PNC Advisors, one of the country's largest trust and investment firms for the management of family wealth. His speaking engagements have taken him from California to Bermuda, with clients varying from corporate, trade associations, college classrooms, and professional service firms. Each program promises to be authoritative, high in content, and anything but dull.